Hey, and welcome to the Book Corner with Denise. Yes, we have a couple authors we're going to discuss tonight, and I need to get up and run and get the two books that I brought with me. Hang on just 1 second. And I apologize for that. I had to get up and get them, but can't take it with me. Okay. We're going to discuss, of course, tonight the legendary author, Mr. Stephen King. Yes. Oh, my God. What can you not say about the man, honestly? So many books. He's so good. We're going to discuss a couple of them. Okay. Get that typed in there. And I'll be putting the notifications out and everything for anybody. Oh my God. And what a start he had, right? It all started with my first book with him was Carrie. And at the time I was at I can't remember exactly. It was a restaurant. Could have. And they had a rack of books, and Carrie was there, and I read the cover, and I'm like, this sounds good. So I bought it. After that, I was hooked, obviously. Of course, Stephen King is an American author of horror, supernatural fiction, suspense, and fantasy novels. He was born September 21st, 1947. His books have sold more than 350 million copies, many of which have been adapted, of course, into feature films, miniseries, television series, and comic books. He has published 61 novels, and that includes 7 under the pen name Richard Bachman, of course, and 6 nonfiction books. He has written approximately 200 short stories, and of course, most of those have been published in book collections. Basically his genre is horror, fantasy, supernatural, drama, gothic, dark fantasy, post-apocalyptic fiction, crime fiction, suspense, and thriller. Of course, he's won the Bram Stoker Award, World Fantasy Award, National Book Award, and of course, he's married to the wonderful Tabitha King. And his kids, of course, we honor Joe Hill. Of course, we know him now, right? He is definitely his father's son. You have Naomi King and Owen King. And, of course, I don't know if you read the book by Stephen King and Owen King. So, he has been dubbed the King of Horror. And he's always been in Maine. He was born in Portland, Maine. His father, Donald Edwin King, was a merchant seaman. Donald was born under the surname Pollock, but as an adult used the surname King. Stephen's mother was Nellie Ruth, and they were married in 1939. Shortly afterwards, they lived with Donald's family in Chicago, then moved to Croton-on-Hudson, New York. They returned to Maine towards the end of World War II, living in a modest house in Scarborough. When King was 2 years old, his father left. King's mother raised Stephen and his older brother David by herself, of course, with great financial strain. Of course, back then it was. The family moved from Scarborough, depending on relatives in Chicago, Wisconsin, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Malden, Massachusetts, and Stratford, Connecticut. When King was 11, his family returned to Durham, Maine, where his mother cared for her parents until their deaths. She then became a caregiver in her local resident facility for the mentally challenged. King was raised a Methodist but lost his belief in organized religion when in high school. While no longer religious, King chooses to believe in the existence of God. As a child, King apparently witnessed one of his friends being struck and killed by a train. Though he has no memory of the event, his family told him that after leaving home to play with the boy, King returned speechless and in shock. Only later did the family learn of the friend's death. Some commentators have suggested that this event may have psychologically inspired some of King's darker works. But he makes no mention of it in his memoir. Of course, most King fans and have this. It's called On Writing in 2000. King related in detail his primary inspiration for writing horror pictures in his non-fiction Danse Macabre, 1981. In a chapter entitled An Annoying Autobiographical Pause, he compares his uncle's dowsing for water using the bough of an apple tree with the sudden realization of what he wanted to do for a living. That inspiration occurred while browsing through an attic with his elder brother when King uncovered a paperback version of H.P. Lovecraft collection of short stories. He remembers as the lurker in the shadows that had belonged to his father. King told Barnes & Noble Studios during a 2009 interview, "I knew that I'd found home when I read that book." He attended Durham Elementary School and graduated from Lisbon Falls High School in Lisbon Falls, Maine, in '66. He displayed an early interest in horror as an avid reader of E.C.'s horror comics, of course including Tales from the Crypt, and he later paid tribute to the comics in his screenplay for Creepshow. He began writing for fun while still in school, contributing articles to Dave's Rag, the newspaper his brother published, with a mimeograph machine. Oh my God. Even I'm not sure. I don't think I've ever seen a mimeograph machine. But anyway, and he later began selling to his friends stories based on movies he had seen. Though when discovered by his teacher, he was forced to return the money. The first of the stories to be independently published was I Was a Teenage Grave Robber. It was serialized over 4 issues, 3 published, 1 unpublished, on a fanzine, Comics Review, in 1965. That story was published the following year in a revised form as it's called In a Half-World of Terror in another fanzine, Stories of Suspense. As a teen, King also won a Scholastic Art and Writing Award. So he's been getting awards since he was young. From 1966, King studied at University of Maine, graduating in 1970 with a BA in English. That year, his daughter Naomi Rachel was born. He wrote a column, Steve King's Garbage Truck, for the student newspaper, the Maine campus. He participated in a writing workshop organized by Burton Hatlin. King held a variety of jobs to pay for his studies, including janitor, gas pump attendant, and worker at industrial laundry. King met his future wife, fellow student Tabitha, at the university's library after one of Professor Hatlin's workshop. They wed in 1971. He's just so wonderful. After graduating from the University of Maine, King earned a certificate to teach high school, but he couldn't find a teaching post immediately. Initially supplemented his laboring wage by selling short stories to men's magazines such as Cavalier. Many of these early stories have been republished in the collection Night Shift. The short story The Raft was published in Atom, a men's magazine. After being arrested for driving over a traffic cone, he was fined $250 and had no money to pay the petty larceny fine. However, payment arrived for the short story, The Raft. It was then entitled, before that, The Float, and King was able to pay the fine. In 1971, King was hired as a teacher at Hampton Academy in Hampton, Maine. He continued to contribute short stories to magazines and worked on ideas for novels. He had an interesting life, if nothing else. Wow. In 1973, King's novel Carrie was accepted by Doubleday Publishing House. Carrie was King's fourth novel, but it was the first one to be published. It was written on a portable typewriter that belonged to his wife. The novel began as a short story intended for Cavalier magazine, but King tossed the first 3 pages of his work in the garbage can. Tabitha fished the pages out of the garbage can and encouraged him to finish it, saying that she would help him with the female perspective. He followed her advice and expanded it into a novel. King has said, "I persisted because I was dry and had no better ideas. My considered opinion was that I had written the world's all-time loser." According to The Guardian, Carrie is the story of Carrie White, a high school student with latent, and then, as the novel progresses, developing telekinetic powers. It's brutal in places, affecting in others, such as Carrie's relationship with her almost, fanatic religious mother, being a particularly damaged one, and gory and even more. When Carrie was chosen for publication, King's phone was out of service. Doubleday editor William Thompson, who would eventually become King's close friend, sent a telegram to King's house in late March or early April 1973, which read, "Carrie officially a Doubleday book. $2,500 advanced against royalties. Congrats, kid. The future lies ahead. Bill." According to King, he bought a new Ford Pinto. Oh my God, remember those? Oh my God. Those little Chevy hatchbacks. Oh my Lord. On May 1973. Let's see. On May 13th, 1973, New American Library bought the paperback rights for $400,000, which, in accordance with King's contract with Doubleday, was split between them. Carrie set King's career in motion and became a significant novel in the horror genre. In 1976, it was made into a successful horror film, as we all know, any of us King fans anyway, right? And then this one, which of his books really scared the crap out of you? Any of them? Oh my God, Salem's Lot did. That damn kid scratching on the window. Let me in. No, go away. King's Salem's Lot was published in 1975. In a 1987 issue of the Highway Patrolman magazine, he stated, "The story seems sort of down home to me. I have a special cold spot in my heart for it, of course." After his mother's death, King and his family moved to Boulder, Colorado, where King wrote The Shining, published in 1977. The family returned to Western Maine in 1975, where King completed his fourth novel, The Stand, which was published in 1978. In 1977, the family, with the addition of Owen Phillips, his third and last child, traveled briefly to England, returning to Maine that fall, where King began teaching creative writing at the University of Maine. In 1982, King published Different Season. It's a collection of 4 novellas with a more serious dramatic bent than the horror fiction for which King is famous. The collection is notable for having had 3 of its 4 novellas turned into Hollywood films. Of course, we know Stand By Me, of course, from the novella The Body, The Shawshank Redemption, and of course you know the novella name Rita Hayworth in The Shawshank Redemption, An Apt Pupil. In 1985, King wrote his first work for the comic book medium, writing a few pages of the benefit X-Men comic book Heroes for Hope, starring the X-Men. The book, whose profits were donated to assist with famine relief in Africa, was written by a number of different authors in the comic book field, such as Chris Claremont, Stan Lee, and Alan Moore, as well as authors not primarily associated with that industry, such as Harlan Ellison. The following year, King published It, 1986, which was the best-selling hardcover novel in the United States that year. He also wrote the introduction to Batman, number 400, an anniversary issue in which he expressed his preference for that character over Superman. Yay, Batman. And we also know about it. Oh my God. I think my daughter was 8 or 9 when she first saw that movie, the original one. And of course, it was on tape VHS, and my uncle had taped it for her and gave it to her. She wore that thing out. She still has it to this day. She knows every single line in that movie. She absolutely loved it. And of course, she gets her taste from her mom, of course. And she is a voracious reader, as am I. So, I mean, it was the start for her with Stephen King. The Dark Tower books, okay? In the late 70s, King began what became a series of interconnected stories about a lone gunslinger, Roland, who pursues the Man in Black in an alternate reality universe that is a cross between J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth and the American Wild West, as depicted by Clint Eastwood and Sergio Leone in their spaghetti westerns. The first of these stories, The Dark Tower, The Gunslinger, was initially published in 5 installments by the Magazine of Fantasy and Science Fiction, under the editorship of Edward L. Furman from 77 to 81. The Gunslinger was continued as an 8-book epic series called The Dark Tower, whose books King wrote and published over 4 decades. That is, I know some of it, a lot of people, a couple of those, they seem dry and everything, but they are important to the storyline. Once you get it started, you can't put them down. Seriously. Oh my God, sometimes you that's like the Green Mile series. I have these series books, the little books they come out with that. And oh my God, you finish one and you're like, hurry up, you want the second one. We had to wait on those, but it was so worth the wait, In the late 70s and early 80s, King published a handful of short stories: Rage, 1977, The Long Walk, 79, Roadwork, 81, The Running Man, 82, and Thinner, 84, under the pseudonym Richard Bachman. The idea behind this was to test whether he could replicate his success again, and to allay his fears that his popularity was an accident. An alternate explanation was that publishing standards at the time allowed only a single book a year. He picked up the name from the hard rock band Bachman Turner Overdrive, woohoo, of which he's a fan. Good taste, right? Richard Bachman was exposed as King's pseudonym by a persistent Washington, D.C. bookstore clerk, Steve Brown, who noticed the similarities between the works and later located publishers' records at the Library of Congress that named King as the author of one of Bachman's novels. Wow, that's a dogged determination. And this led to a press release heralding Bachman's death, supposedly from cancer of the pseudonym. There you go. King dedicated his 89 book, I was going to say the dark half, of course, about a pseudonym turning on a writer to the deceased Richard Bachman. And in 96, when the Stephen King novel Desperation was released, the companion novel, The Regulators, carried the Bachman byline. Of course it did. Gotta love it. 2 great books. They're all good. Just one is on the bottom of the list, but in 2006, during a press conference in London, King declared that he had discovered another Bachman novel titled Blaze. It was published in June 12, 2007. In fact, the original manuscript had been held at King's alma mater, at the University of Maine, for many years, and had been covered by numerous King experts. King rewrote the original 73 manuscript for its publication. Oh my gosh. King has used other pseudonyms. The short story The Fifth Quarter was published under the pseudonym John Swithin. Okay, do you know that name? Think about it. I'll give you a minute. That was the name of a character in the novel Carrie, but was under the pseudonym John Swithin by Cavalier in April 72. The story was reprinted in King's collection Nightmares and Dreamscapes in 1993 under his own name. In the introduction to the Bachman novel Blaze, King claims with tongue-in-cheek, Bachman was the person using the Swithin pseudonym. There you go. The children's book, Charlie the Choo-Choo from the World of the Dark Tower, was published in 2016 under the pseudonym Burl Evans, who was portrayed by actress Allison Davis during a book signing at San Diego Comic-Con, and illustrated by Ned Dameron. It is adapted from a fictional book central to the plot of King's previous novel, The Dark Tower 3, The Wastelands, of course. Laying the pain, right? In 2000, King published online a serialized horror novel, The Plant. At first, the public presumed that King had abandoned the project because sales were unsuccessful. But King later stated that he had simply run out of stories. The unfinished epistolary novel is still available from King's official site, now free. Also in 2000, he wrote a digital novella, Riding the Bullet, and has said he sees ebooks becoming 50% of the market, probably by 2013, maybe 2012. But he also warns, here's the thing, people tire of new toys quickly, don't we though? It's like, okay, we have it now. Okay, I'm done with it. King wrote the first draft of the 2001 novel Dreamcatcher with a notebook and a Waterman fountain pen, which he called the world's finest word processor. In 2003, in August, King began writing a column on pop culture, appearing in Entertainment Weekly, usually every third week. The column was called The Pop of King. Commonly, that's a play, of course, on the King of Pop, attributed to, of course, Michael Jackson. In 2006, King published an apocalyptic novel, Cell. The book features a sudden force in which every cell phone user turns into a mindless killer. King noted in the book's introduction he does not use cell phones. On that note, I have to say I enjoyed the novel, and I was a little disappointed in the movie. Excuse me. I'm sure you've heard of it or seen it. Not The Cell, but Cell. And the cast was great. He had John Cusack, Samuel L. Jackson, and I think they could have done much better with the Raggedy Man. I wish they would have done more to match the character in the book. I really think, because he was kind of a main character there. But I love John Cusack, of course. He was in 1408. I just think John Cusack, and he was great in Identity as well. But I think he seems to be like a King favorite type actor for the stories. I absolutely love him, and I was disappointed it didn't turn out as well as it should have, especially with the Raggedy Man and his group. Anyway, getting back online here. In 2008, King published both a novel, Doom McKee, and a collection, Just After Sunset. The latter featured 13 short stories, including a previously unpublished novella, N. Starting July 2008, N was released as a serialized animated series to lead up to the release of Just After Sunset. In 2009, King published U.R., a novella written exclusively for the launch of the second-generation Amazon Kindle, and available only on Amazon.com. And Throttle, of course, a novella co-written with his son Joe Hill, and later released as an audiobook titled Road Rage. It included Richard Matheson's short story Duel. King's novel Under the Dome was published in November of that year, and it's a reworking of an unfinished novel he tried writing twice in the late 70s and early 80s. And at 1,074 pages, it is the largest novel he has written since It. Under the Dome debuted number 1 in the New York Times bestseller list. On February 16, 2010, King announced on his website his next would be a collection of 4 unpublished novellas called Full Dark No Stars, Great collection there. All of them are. In April of that year, he published Blockade Billy, an original novella issued first by independent small press Cemetery Dance Publications and later released mass market. The following month, DC Comics premiered American Vampire, a monthly comic book series written by King with short story writer Scott Snyder, which represents King's first original comics work. King wrote the background history of the very first American vampire, Skinner Sweet. In the first 5 issues story, Scott Snyder wrote the story of Pearl. I have Blockade Billy. I liked it. I liked the I just really liked it. I liked the point of view it came from. I thought it was great. I have it. It's one of my favorites. I love Joyland. That's another one. It's a fun, spooky story, but it's a fun story. It's a quick read. I all his little short stories like that. Of course, Colorado Kid. Gotta love it. I do. I think they're great. King's next novel. This is the top of my list. My number 1 book. 11/22/63 was published November 8th, 2011. It was nominated for the 2012 World Fantasy Award Best Novel. The 8th Dark Tower volume, Went Through the Keyhole, was published in 2012. And of course, King's next book was Joyland, a novel about an amusement park serial killer. According to an article in the Sunday Times, published April 8th. During his Chancellor's Speaker Series talk at University of Massachusetts on December 7th, 2012, King indicated he was writing a crime novel about a retired policeman being taunted by a murderer. With a working title, Mr. Mercedes, and inspired by a true event about a woman driving her car into a McDonald's restaurant, it was originally meant to be a short story just a few pages long. In an interview with Parade, published May 26, 2013, King confirmed that the novel was more or less completed. He published it in June that year. Later on, in June, while doing a video chat with fans as part of promoting the upcoming Under the Dome TV series, King mentioned he was halfway through his next novel, Revival, which of course was released in November of 2014. In June 2014, Mr. Mercedes is part of a trilogy. King announced the second book, Finders Keepers, was released on June 2nd, 2015. In April of that year, it was revealed King was working on the third book of the trilogy, End of Watch. And if you don't know what that, if you've never, you see, I knew what that meant right away. My dad's a retired cop, so I knew exactly what it meant. And I was like, oh no, I was afraid to read it. I really was. It's a sad title, actually. And that was released in June 2016. I loved that trilogy. The characters he has in there. Oh, the last book. Tears came on that one. But that trilogy was fabulous, I thought. I love the characters. Holly was my favorite. And I'm kind of partial to her, and I'm so glad she's reappearing again in these last couple books. So, excuse me. So if you have not read that trilogy, please do. You'll be so glad you did. And during a tour to promote End of Watch, King revealed that he had collaborated on a novel set in a women's prison in West Virginia with his son Owen King, of course, Sleeping Beauties. And I got to see him and Owen in Wisconsin on this, and got my book, which I was so excited to have. It wasn't signed, darn it. He only signed so many, and I didn't get one. My daughter didn't either, but we got the book. It's a great book. I was upset at the choice at the end, but as always, Um, it was really, really good. And then, of course, about his car accident and everything, on June 19th, 1999, at about 4:30 p.m., King was walking on the shoulder Main State Route 5 in Lovell, Maine. Driver Brian Edwin Smith, distracted by an unrestrained dog moving in the back of his minivan, struck King, who landed in a depression in the ground about 14 feet from the pavement of Route 5. According to Oxford County Sheriff Deputy, King was hit from behind, and some witness said the driver was not speeding, reckless, or drinking. In his book On Writing, King stated he was heading north, walking against the traffic. Shortly before the accident took place, a woman in a car, also northbound, passed King first, and then the light blue Dodge van. The van was looping from one side of the road to the other, and the woman told her passenger she hoped that guy in the van doesn't hit him. He was conscious enough to give the deputy phone numbers to contact his family, but of course was in considerable pain. He was transported to Northern Cumberland Hospital and then flown by air ambulance to Central Maine Medical Center in Lewiston. His injuries, a collapsed right lung, multiple fractures of his right leg, scalp laceration, and a broken hip, kept him there until July 9th. His leg bones were so shattered that doctors initially considered amputating his leg, but stabilized the bones in the leg with an external fixator. After 5 operations and 10 days in physical therapy, King resumed work on writing in July. Though his hip was still shattered, he could sit only for about 40 minutes before the pain became unbearable. And King's lawyer and 2 others purchased Smith's van for $1,500, reportedly to prevent it from appearing on eBay. The van was later crushed at a junkyard, to King's disappointment, as he had fantasized about smashing it. Of course he did. He's gotten so many the Bram Stoker Awards. 1987, Misery. 1994, Past Midnight. 1995, Lunch at the Gotham Cafe. 1996, The Green Mile. 1998, Bag of Bones. And I really like that book. I really do. It was haunting. It was good. God, he's just phenomenal. 2000, he got it on writing. 2000, Writing the Bullet. 2002, he got a Lifetime Achievement Award. 2003, The Dark Tower, Wolves of the Cala. 2006, Lacey's Story. 2008, Do McKee. 2008, Just After Sunset. 2010, Full Dark, No Stars. 2011, Herman Wouk Is Still Alive. And, of course, 2013, Dr. Sleep. Those are all his Bram Stoker Awards. He got the American Library Association Best Books for Young Adults, Salem's Lot and Firestarter, Black Quill Awards, Do McKee, British Fantasy Awards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, Deutscher Fantastic Prize, Hearts in Atlantis, The Green Mile, Black House, International Author of the Year, and The Dark Tower 7, The Dark Tower. Horror Guild, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 awards that. Hugo Award in 1982 for Danse Macabre. International Horror Guild Awards. Storm of the Century, of course. Living Legend. The Kono Mystery, the best translated mystery picture of the year in Japan. 11/22/63. Locus Awards. Mystery Writers of America 2007 Grand Master Award. National Book Award 2003 Medal of Distinguished Contribution to American Letters. Spokane Public Library Golden Pen Award. University of Reid Alumni Career Award. World Fantasy Award. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Man in Black was in that, by the way. World Horror Convention, 1992. He was the World Horror nominated. The World Horror Grand Master. Oh, these books. It is so amazing. Storm of the Century. Give me what I want, then I'll go away. Oh my God, just such a creepy guy. And with the kids, it was crazy. Oh, what was the matter with those people? Yeah, give your kid up. Go ahead. Yeah, we'll give them up so they'll wake up. Y'all are crazy. How about The Mist? Oh, Carmody. Oh my God, I hated that woman. As soon as she opened her mouth, I probably would have bashed her face in. Just punch her in the face. That's what you wanted to do. It's like, God, will you beat her up already? She was a piece of work. But a lot of people were like upset about the ending or didn't like it. I thought it was great because it's not your standard ending. Okay, he chose to do it that way, and it's like the Dark Tower. It couldn't have ended any other way. It was perfect. Actually, I thought it was. What did you all think out there? Just curious as to what y'all thought. And of course, you have Peter Straub and Stephen King, The Talisman and Black House. Oh my God, those two books are great. I wanted those to go on forever. And like the trilogies. I love the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. And like I said, some of you probably know what end of watch means. And if you're in a cop's family or anything to do with them, then you know. So that's kind of a sad title. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to read it. But of course I did. Great, great trilogy. Mr. Mercedes. Oh my God, I have it right here. So let's see. I wanted to read some of it for you. The stolen Mercedes emerges from the pre-dawn fog and plows through a crowd of men and women online for a job fair in a distressed American city. Then the lone driver backs up, charges again, and speeds off, leaving 8 dead and more wounded. The case goes unsolved, and the next cop, Bill Hodges, is out of hope when he gets a letter from a man who loved the feel of death under the Mercedes wheels. Brady Hartsfield wants that rush again, but this time he's going big, with an attack that would take down thousands. As Hodges and 2 unusual allies he picks up along the way can throw a wrench in Hartsfield's diabolical plans. Oh my God, it was just so great, so great. Brady Hartsfield, yeah, you wanted to put a screwdriver into his head. I'm just going to open it at a page, and I'm going to start with the paragraph and read the page. The blue umbrella was make-believe from beneath the white brows. Her eyes are calling him a perfect idiot. It was a thing in her computer. Frankie was her computer pen pal. He always feels kind of electric shock in his midsection when fresh info drops. Frankie. Surely not the guy's real name, but names have power and aliases often have meaning. Frankie. He told her to stop taking her medicine. Yes, he said, it was hooking her. Where's Jamie? I want my pills. She'll be back any minute, I'm sure. Mrs. Wharton broods into her lap for a moment. Frankie said he took all the same medicines, and that's why he did what he did. He said he felt better after he stopped taking them. He said that after he stopped, he knew what he did was wrong. But it made him sad because he couldn't take it back. That's what he said. And that life wasn't worth living. I told Livy she should stop talking to him. I said he was bad, that he was poison. And she said, the tears were coming again. She said she had to save him. This time when Jamie comes into the doorway, Hodges nods to her. Jamie puts a pair of blue pills into her mother's purse and seeking mouth, then gives her a drink of juice. Thank you, Livy. Hodges sees Jamie wince, then smile. You're welcome, dear. And she turns to Hodges. I think we should go, Bill. She's very tired. You want more? Read Mr. Mercedes, first of the trilogy. And that also got, it was a series, of course, television, Mr. Mercedes. And the first one that came to mind to play Hodges, of course, and unfortunately he had died, the great Dennis Franz. He would have been a perfect Hodges. Just the right amount of quirkiness, right? I thought so. I think he would have been good. But the cast they had, I thought, was very good. Just great. And of course, Castle Rock, the series, Under the Dome, his everything. And now, of course, Nosferatu by Joe Hill. Oh my God, that was amazing. You have Brendan Gleeson as Bill Hodges, which I thought was a good choice, actually. Justine Luke as Holly. I thought she was good. He had Harry Treadaway. Believed he played Brady. You have Kelly Lynch, Scott Lawrence, Robert Stanton, Mary Louise Parker, Jack Hudson, Amy Cusack, Nancy Travis. So, good cast. That was season 1, by the way. I just thought it was a great series. Then, of course, season 3. You add a few more, Ramey and Newton, Meg Steedy. What's next for Bill Hodges? Oh, I think he was a good choice. Had Dennis Franz been still alive, I think he would have been my number 1 choice. So, and then, of course, like I said, you have Nosferatu. Oh, my God. Under the Dome started off good. Unfortunately, I couldn't watch it after a while. I just couldn't do it. I love the book, and it was driving me crazy. Just so many, and of course you have the wonderful Peter Straub and him collaborating, The Talisman. Oh my God, how could you not have read this? It is so fantastic. I absolutely love it. Okay, and I'm going to read the cover for you. Why had 12-year-old Jack Sawyer's mother frantically moved the two of them from Rodeo Drive to a New York City apartment to the Alhambra, a fading ocean resort, and Sheridan Amusement Park in New Hampshire? Who or what is she running from? She is dying, and even young Jack knows she can't outrun death. But only he can save her, for he has been chosen to search for a prize across an epic landscape of dangers and lies, a realm of innocence and monsters, where everything Jack loves is on the line. This is a great story, and of course, then you have Black House. I like it because he learns he can flip, which is great, great story. Read these. Read anything Stephen King. I have to say, though, my least favorite, and of course, this is when he was had gotten hit and stuff. He wrote Tommyknockers under the wasn't it cocaine? He was under the influence of cocaine at the time. I like the story. Don't get me wrong, but I thought it was way too long. It was published in 1987. It still has a horror style, but it's also sci-fi. As the residents of a Maine town of Haven, of course. And I loved that brings me to, of course, you say the names and it brings you into something else. Based on the Colorado Kid, Haven. And I loved that show. I thought it was fabulous. Great cast, and I really did like that. But anyway, the main town of Haven gradually falls under the influence of a mysterious object in the woods. I think it could have been half that long and still been really good. Oh my God, it took me a while to get through that. It really did. That is my least favorite book. My favorites, I don't know, they all are. They're so good. Like I said, 11/22/63. Of course, the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. Gosh, all of them are. I love them all. I really do. Like I said, I really enjoyed Joyland. I love Cell, the book, not so much the movie. Like I said, I think they could have done the ending in Raggedy Man a little better. And that's like the Dark Tower movie. I followed it. I liked it. I love Idris Elba. I thought he was great. I liked what they did with it. He wasn't all about, the Dark Tower. So, but I thought it was good. I enjoy it. Let me get this shared, which I forgot to do again. Okay. But I really enjoy his books, and It Bleeds will be coming out. His past Elevation, that was another one. It's not his normal. I think he writes sometimes like Elevation, Joyland, Colorado Kid, Blockade Billy, because they're fun to write. Just to write something like that, that they're fun to write. So I think that's part of it. That's like he did Tokens, and and just threw it away because he did it for fun. I would have loved to see what he had wrote. I really would, because it was supposed to be hilarious, but of course he got rid of it. Token was a little upset with him, but hey, you get over it. But yeah, it was great fun. I think sometimes, he just writes, just to keep his writing going, and just for fun sometimes. He doesn't have to write a novel every time. Although the bigger the book, the better it is to me. It's like the Dark Tower series. Oh my God. Couldn't wait till the next one. Yeah, some of them started out hard. But if you can find your way through it, you won't regret it, honestly. I'm typing here, so give me a moment. And I know the next person I'm going to talk about is going to bore you to death, but I think she's a great writer myself. Also, in my next show, we're going to be talking about Brian Lumley. He wrote the Necroscope series. If you have not heard of it, oh my God. I don't even know what sometimes I read the cover, or I like the cover artwork, and I'm like, God, that looks interesting. Pick it up. Next thing you know, I'm getting all his books. Anyway, and after that, 2 weeks from then, we're going to do like authors' fictional characters that really came to life, such as, of course, Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot, the fictional characters we came to know and love. Ellery Queen, he was a fictional character. So we're going to get into some of the biggest fictional characters that authors have used and became totally famous. So in 2 weeks, like I said, we're going to do Brian Lumley, kind of a sci-fi fantasy horror. It is, if you've not heard of it, look it up. It's called Brian Lumley Necroscope series. and we're going to be talking about Anne Perry. She does historical, location, fictional mystery, basically. It's set in London, and her characters are great. And you want a good mystery. And it's kind of a continuation of the lives of her two main characters, Thomas and Charlotte Pitt, and their kids. And and each book, that she writes with them, they're older, they get, the kids are growing. So it's kind of a series of books, and it's really, really good. You get involved because Charlotte gets involved in his cases and sometimes screws up, gets herself in trouble, yada, yada. And of course, back then, she married a policeman. Oh my God, that was kind of beneath her station. So kind of crazy. So we'll be talking about that in a minute. Okay. I'd like to know what your favorite Stephen King books are. I kind of told you mine, like all of them, but 11/23/63 is like my favorite one. So I want to know what your favorite ones are. And I'm sorry I didn't get this up sooner, because I really should have. I'm sorry. You guys could have really joined me here. Now I feel bad. I do. I feel bad. Okay. One more. Yeah, her, Anne Perry, and those novels are great. And I'm so glad Book Corner is back. I really am. So many books, so many things to discuss. Okay. Do you have a favorite genre? What is your least favorite? Just out of curiosity. What is your least favorite genre? Mine, unfortunately, romance and westerns. Oh my God. Yeah, no. Those are my least favorite genres, but we will talk about them. I am willing to talk about it. I don't have to like it to talk about it, so. Kind of crazy with Anne Perry. She's a little different. She was actually convicted of participating in the murder of her friend's mother. It was called the Parker Hume murder case. Began in the city of Christchurch, New Zealand, on June 22nd, 1954, when Honora Reaper, known as Honora Parker, her legal name, was killed by her teenage daughter Pauline Parker and Pauline's close friend Juliet Hume, later known as Anne Perry. Parker was 16 at the time, while Hume was 15. The murder has inspired plays, novels, nonfiction books, and films, including Peter Jackson's 1994 film Heavenly Creatures. On June 22nd, 1954, the body of Honora Reaper was discovered in Victoria Park, Christchurch, New Zealand. That afternoon, Honora had gone for a walk through Victoria Park with her daughter Pauline Parker and her best friend Juliet Hume. Approximately 430 feet down the path in a wooded area of the park, near a small wooden bridge, Hume and Parker bludgeoned Reaper to death with a half of a brick enclosed in an old stocking. After committing the murder, which they had planned together, the two girls fled, covered in blood, back to the tea kiosk where the three of them had eaten only minutes before. They were met by Agnes and Kenneth Ritchie, owners of the tea shop, whom they told that Honora had fallen and hit her head. Her body was found by Kenneth Ritchie. Major lacerations were found about her head, neck, and face, with minor injuries to her fingers. Police soon discovered the murder weapon in the nearby woods, and of course their story soon fell apart. Prior to the trial, Pauline Parker had been known as Pauline Reaper. Her mother, Honora Reaper, had been living with her father, Herbert, but during police investigations it was revealed that they were not in fact married. Thus, during the trial, both girls were referred to with the surname Parker. The trial was a sensational affair with speculation about their possible lesbianism and insanity. The girls were convicted on August 28, 1954, and as they were too young to be considered for the death penalty, they each spent 5 years in prison. Some sources say they were released on condition they never contact each other again. But Sam Barnett, the Secretary for Justice, told journalists there was no such condition. Hulme's release was unconditional and she immediately rejoined her father in Italy, while Parker was placed on 6 months parole in New Zealand, after which she left the country. Less than 4 months later, the murder was taken as strong evidence of moral decline by the Special Committee on Moral Delinquency in Children and Adolescents in what became known as a Mazengarb report. So, and of course this was adapted into the film of Peter Jackson's Heavenly Creatures in 1994. Perry's identity was revealed publicly around the time of the film's release. The case also fictionalized in 1958 as The Evil Friendship by M.E. Kerr under the pseudonym Vin Parker. So Miss Ann Perry had a past. She spent 5 months in jails and then she changed her name. That was kind of crazy. She was born in Blackheath, London, the daughter of physicist Dr. Henry Ransford Hume. Perry was diagnosed with tuberculosis as a child and sent to the Caribbean and South Africa in hopes that a warmer climate would improve her health. A 1948 Auckland Star photograph of Juliet arriving in New Zealand was discovered by the Auckland Library staff and written about in the Heritage. She rejoined her family when she was 13 after her father took a position as rector of Canterbury University College in New Zealand. And of course, there you are. I'm sorry, my fault. I just did this whole thing on Stephen King. I'm so sorry. I forget. That's right. Boom. What is your least favorite story by Stephen King? We'll backtrack. What is your least favorite story by Stephen King? I know I've told you mine. It's Tommyknockers, because it's so damn long. I think it could have been half that. So what's your least favorite Stephen King story? And your favorite. Mine's 11/22/63. I love the Mr. Mercedes trilogy. I'm so glad Holly's back. Carrie, that's your favorite, Carrie? Wow. That was my first book of Stephen King's, was Carrie. I don't know where it's at. I have totes of books, for crying out loud. It might be one of those, because it's like the original cover of Carrie back, way back. Way back. But anyway, yeah. Least favorite? Carrie? Oh, Tommyknockers is my least favorite. Because I liked that story, don't get me wrong, like I said, but it was just too damn long. It went on and on and on. What's your favorite one, though? Which one stands out for you? Under the Dome, that's a good one. That's in my top 5. Absolutely, 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 my top 5. Um, the TV series was good. That started out great, like the first 2 seasons, and then it kind of petered out. I don't know what the hell they did, but anyway, the book was great. That's like Cell. I thought the movie, like I said, there were 2 star actors, and I love John Cusack, and of course Samuel L. Jackson. Who doesn't love him? But I think they hurried it too much in making it, because Raggedy Man, I think, should have been portrayed a lot better than they did. So that's just my opinion. But I love the book. I really did. Like I said, Joyland, Elevation was another one. Blockade Billy, Colorado Kid. I think those for him were just fun to write. They're fun to read, enjoyable, and they're a quick read. They really are. But they're my favorite. Bag of Bones. I love Bag of Bones. I thought that was a great book, in my opinion. Nobody talks about that one, though. But I really liked it. There's a couple. People don't... How about Rose Madder? Yeah, I didn't care for it that much. It started off good, the TV series, but then it kind of went... I stopped watching it, and I wasn't interested anymore. I agree there. What about Rose Madder? Nobody talks about Rose Madder. I love that book. That's a great book. Rose Madder, Bag of Bones. People don't discuss those. Like I said, of course, the other one, The Outsider, that started on HBO, so make sure and catch that. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree, the series did suck. Anyway, but what about Rose Madder? Did he read it on Audible? Oh, I'm gonna have to get that then. Yeah, I think so too. What do you think of Rose Madder? Rose Madder is a great book. I don't understand why people don't talk about these books more. Because they're great books, great reads. Rose Madder was great, I thought. Yeah. And he didn't. Yeah, Rose Madder was good. I enjoyed that book. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know why people don't discuss those books more. Some of his other works, they always talk about The Stand or It. Of course, those are phenomenal works. But what about these books? These books are great. I love Bag of Bones. The story was really good in that. No, ghostly things. But yeah, Rose Madder is the name of the book, but a lot of people don't know that Rose Madder is a color. And that was a great book. It's a horror fantasy novel, of course. And it's got a tone of Greek mythology. I couldn't get it out of my head there. Fantastic. Greek mythology. I really enjoyed that one. I really did. He's gotten into a few things with domestic violence, of course. Dolores Claiborne is one. Oh, he did. Needful Things. Needful Things was freaking awesome. When Needful Things came out, I was wondering, in the book, it really goes into what's the word I want to use? Explicit. Elevation was good, but he goes in Needful Things. in the movie, he goes into, in the book, I mean, about explicit with the woman, that one with Elvis Presley. Oh my God, I was waiting to see what they did with that, and they didn't do a whole lot, but that was great. I was like, how are they going to do this, I wonder? She was a real fan, wasn't she? Wow. Yeah, went through the keyhole. I love Desperation. Tack, tack. I love it. Ron Perlman was fantastic in that movie. I love the movie, too. The movie was good. They stuck right to the book. But it's a great... And the Regulators. Along Men in Yellow Coats, man. Yeah, the Went Through the Keyhole. All great books. And they talk about... Everybody talks about It, The Stand. Of course, The Dark Tower. I love the Dark Tower series. But he wrote other books. He really did. He did all those. He read them himself. Oh, I'm one of those. I'm not an audiobook person. But if he read these on audio, then I'm going to have to. I'm going to have to get it done so I can hear him do that. I might give me the book type person. I want it in my hands. But if he read those on audio, then I'm just going to have to do it. I'll have to bite the bullet and do it. And I'll probably become addicted to it. You watch. What did you think of his really quick books? Joyland, Blockade Billy, Colorado Kid, Elevation. I think Elevation was when he did too. Oh, he also read Blood and Smoke, LT's Theory of Power. Oh, that I didn't know. I'm going to have to check that out. Thank you for that info, Chris. Thank you very much. I'm going to have to check that out for sure. But I love those short, quick books he writes. Elevation was when it was good. I did too. I thought Joyland was great. Everybody's like, oh, really, Joyland was great. I thought it was great. And it's a fun read. I think Colorado Kid is, Blockade Billy. These are books I think he wrote for fun because he gets in some dark places in some of his books, and I think these were fun for. Joyland is one of my favorites. If you haven't read it, yeah, On Writing, yes, I definitely brought that up a million times. On Writing, he read that one too. Oh my God! Wow. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll bet he is. I'm going to have to listen to him now. Definitely. It's like Elevation. Elevation was good, but for him, I think it was like a fun thing to do. It Bleeds comes out. Is it May? I believe it's May. Let me see. May 5th. Okay, I thought it was May. Four compelling novellas. Mr. Harrigan's Phone, The Life of Chuck, Rat, and the title story, If It Bleeds. Ooh! I know you've listened to them all. And I know you've been... I promise I will get some of these that he's read, and I'll bet you I become addicted. I just haven't bit the bullet yet to go get into the audiobooks yet, so... Bag of Bones. Oh my God. People, read this book. It is a great book. I love it. I think they did the movie on it too, and I think it really... I think it followed the book pretty well, if I'm not mistaken. If this focuses on an author who suffers severe writer's block and delusions at an isolated lake house 4 years after the death of his wife. The book reuses many basic plot elements of Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca, and it's directly referenced several times in the book's opening pages. However, the relation of these elements, it includes a wife who is dead as the book opens, her posthumous effect on future romance, a drowning, and a house haunted by the memories of previous inhabitants. The plot and characters are markedly different. It's a great, great book. I loved it. I really did. Well, heck yeah. I'm definitely going to have to, I am definitely going to give it a try. Definitely. Especially if he read them. I have been resistant to it. But I will do it, and I will report back, and I'll probably be, dummy, you should have done this a long time ago. But yes, these are books that people don't talk about as much. I talk about Carrie, Firestarter, of course. That was a great book and great movie. I thought some of his other works need to be talked about too. Needful Things, Storm of the Century. Storm of the Century was amazing, and the movie was fantastic. They really did a job on that one. And I mentioned The Mist earlier also. The ending, they had the alternate ending, but I like his endings because you don't know what to expect. It's not always a happy ending, as it isn't in real life. It's not always happily ever after, as the movie proved. I absolutely loved it. Really good. Like I said, I wanted to face punch Carmody with a chair, or at least my fist. But yeah. And of course, if you're not watching it, The Outsider just started on HBO last Sunday, I believe. So catch it. I think it's Sunday nights at 9 on HBO. So check it out for sure. And of course, Missing Mercedes by Joe Hill. He's another one we're going to be talking about in the future. Oh my God. He does have a style all his own. He really does. And he is definitely his father's son. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about that, besides looking like him. But I like that he went under Joe Hill. You did not know he was his son till afterwards, which I thought was good. Oh, did you really? No, I liked it because you weren't expecting it. It's not always a happy ending. Like I said, happy endings don't happen in real life. So, and I got to quit talking and breathing at the same time here. You didn't like it? Oh, I did. I did. Boy, it was like boom, right in your face ending. I liked it. Because, like I said, it's not always happily ever after. And it shouldn't be. I don't think. It can't always end that way. Which drives me crazy. Like I said, my two... And why didn't it make sense? It did. He was trying to save his family from the inevitable. That the monster's coming and they were going to die, So he thought he was saving them from the horror. Unfortunately, what came out of the mist wasn't expected. I was like, oh, crap, no way, oh shit, no, you didn't. The story ending was good too, don't get me wrong, but I did like the movie ending, because it did save him from the horrible death, and unfortunately, it didn't work out that way. So, not always a happy ending, which I like, because it's not that way. Like Storm of the Century. Oh my God, why would... What a bunch of selfish people. Just goes to show you, right? Give me what I want and I'll go away. Um, yeah, he was a creepy characters in these books, right? You can't? I have got this up. Let me see here. Nope, it's up. The volumes are up. Can you hear me now? Okay, maybe I got too far away. Sorry. I forget what I was saying now. I forget. Oh, Storm of the Century. Um, I enjoyed that. Boy, it just that was a ending, wasn't it? In Storm of the Century, that was a great movie. I probably was. I probably was moving. But anyway, yeah, Storm of the Century was great. Needful Things were great because he left. He got away. Where did he go? Yeah, it's doesn't that story didn't end, so to speak. It did there, but he moved on elsewhere. So, yeah, and Storm of the Century. Oh my God, I just wanted to beat those people. I couldn't believe they did it. I was like, no, God, what is wrong with you people? But okay, another one like The Mist, the mob rule type thing, yeah. Yes. Yeah, it was great. Great character. Yeah, that was good. What's another one people don't read of his that's really good? Or people don't talk about? There's so many. People don't care for the Colorado Pig. Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. Um, you know, they, some of his Just After Sunset, Nightmares and Dreamscapes, those aren't talked about as well. And Dreamcatcher, who doesn't love Dreamcatcher? I did it. And his Scooby Doo lunchbox, you gotta love it. How could you not love that? And that he had a purpose in life. And he was just amazing. And in what's his face, I can't think of his name offhand, in his mind where he divides, he has these files and then files within the files. How they did that was amazing. I thought that was great. I love that movie. I thought it was a good movie in there. Yes, they are good. And I think more people need to talk about those and read them again because they're great. And this next one, It Bleeds, is going to be a collection. So that's going to be good. Things to look forward to, right? Things to look forward to. I wonder when Joe's going to come out with his next one. It'll be a future discussion. Because I absolutely love the Firemen. I was like, yeah, yes. Crazy. I want to see if Joe Hill's coming out with anything. He just came out with Full Throttle, of course. But the Firemen, oh my God. I was like, how much could you talk about this? I was totally blown away by that book. Let's see if he's got anything coming out. Oh, what's that one about? Oh, audio CD. Joe Hill, just for your information. Audio CD. Joe Hill's Last Will. Huh, interesting. And, Nosferatu, of course. Let me see. Mm-mm-mm. I'm looking to see, of course. Audible.com, the Heroes audiobook by Joe. Of course, In the Tall Grass, which is on Netflix. Full Throttle he came off with. Strange Weather, that was a good book too. I don't see anything. New yet. Let me see if I rephrase it. I don't. Oh, okay. Hang on. Full Throttle, of course. I don't see anything offhand, but I will keep looking. Yeah, he does. I was just reading that. Oh, wait a minute. What is this? Oh, yeah, Lock and Key is the American comic book series. So, yeah, Lock and Key. So, yeah. That's one of them. I just saw that. So, hopefully he'll be coming out with something in the next, 10 months or so. Let's hope so, anyway. But Joe has 2 upcoming books in 2019, 2020. Yes. Full Throttle, of course, we know about. Yeah. What is that? Okay, yeah. Okay, that's it so far as I know. So, we shall see what we shall see with that. Yeah, Lock and Key, spelled L-O-C-K-E. And that's a comic book series. So there's that. I don't see anything new coming out. Of course, he just came out with Full Throttle. So that's the newest one. And of course, what are we going to do when there's no Stephen King? I don't know. That's a horrible thought, isn't it? He is getting up there in age, unfortunately. I hope he's around like forever. I hope he has that magical spell because, we live for his books. Let's face it. We live for his books. Oh, Basket Full of Heads? Is that a book or an audio? May I ask? Oh, that's a comic too. Okay. Oh, comic. I'll have to check that one out for sure. So he's got 2 comic lines out. Lock and Key. Oh, Basket Full of Heads is coming out this year. Oh, very cool. Okay. That works for me. Definitely I'm going to check that out. Very good, very good. He needs to come out with another book, though. I hope he's working on some. Absolutely, I hope he is. Yeah, there's a lot of people with Stephen King, they don't like The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon either. I thought that was a great book. I really did. I don't know why people didn't like it. Maybe because they understand baseball, which Black-Eyed Billy was great, I thought. Is that another one of Joe's? Dying is Easy? I saw the title, but I wasn't sure. So he's got 3 comics? Wow. He's into the comics, is he? That's great, though. I'm going to have to check those out for sure. For sure. So 3. Wow. Interesting. So, but awesome. And a second here. Okay, sorry about that. I had a sneezing fit there and had a bum my nose. Sorry. I just didn't want you to see it. No, you didn't. I turned you off for a second. I had a sneezing fit and had to blow my nose, so I didn't want y'all to hear that. So it's not pretty. It's all good. Yeah, I didn't want y'all to hear that, so no, I'm here. Anyway, wow, 3 comic series. That's great. So I hope he's working on a book. So I really do, because wow, the environment was great. It was great. So, and of course, like I said, his collaboration with Peter Straub. Holy crap! The Talisman and Black House, totally awesome. So make sure y'all check out these books, guys. They're fantastic. Jack Sawyer, and he learns to flip, and I really like those books. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, I was talking about Mr. Mercedes earlier and the TV series, which is wonderful, by the way. But I was thinking, before they got Brendan Gleeson to do Hodges, I mean, if it would have been possible at all, but of course he's passed. Dennis Franz would have been a good Hodges had he still been around. I think he'd have been perfect. Kind of rough, but not. I think he would have been a good Bill Hodges, but they did good. They did good with the cast. And of course, my favorite character in the series is Holly. And like I said before, I'm so glad they're bringing her back. So glad. So, yes, very, very good. So far, I like The Outsider, the series on HBO. So we shall see. And I'm so glad AMC had Nosferatu on. That was perfect channel for that. Perfect. Great choices, people. Great choices. Okay. Now getting back to Anne Perry. She is basically a historical location mystery writer. She's great. And, of course, I went through how she, at 15, her and her girlfriend She planned the murder with her girlfriend of her girlfriend's mother. She spent 5 years in prison, in jail, and came out and changed her name to A.M. Perry. And of course, she's a famous author now. She's great. Historical detective fiction, I should say, okay? She's best known for her Thomas Pitt and William Monk series. And it it's set in, wow, I didn't know this. After being released from prison, she returned to England, became a flight attendant. She changed her name to Anne Perry. For a period, she lived in the United States, where she joined the Latter-day Saints in 1968. She later settled in the Scottish village of Port Mahomack, where she lived with her mother. Her father had a distinguished scientific career, heading the British hydrogen bomb program. Wow. Her last name was Hume. She took the name Anne Perry using her stepfather's surname. The Cater Street Hangman was published under Perry in 1979. Her works generally fall into one of several categories of genre fiction, including historical murder mysteries and detective fiction. She has two series, Thomas Pitt, who appeared in her first novel, and an amnesiac private investigator, William Monk, who first appeared in her 1990 novel, The Face of a Stranger. So the Thomas Pitt and Charlotte Pitt novels are great. They really are. They're great. I absolutely love them. William Monk, not so much. I mean, he's an alright character, but I really like her other ones. And they're about Thomas Pitt, who's a English detective, and his wife Charlotte, and how she kind of married beneath her because he's a policeman. Oh no! There's includes the Cater Street Hangman, Calendar Square. There's a whole series of these. It says it on there. Just great books. Just great books. So he's got a bunch of them under that one. He's from a working class background. This is Victorian London, mind you. His father was a gamekeeper on a landed estate, and Pitt was educated alongside the son of the house. And he was prompted to enter the police force after his father was wrongly accused of poaching game and transported to Australia. At the beginning of the series, Pitt is a police inspector, but promoted to superintendent. Later, he is removed from his job as a result of investigating, in quotes, the wrong people, those with sufficient influence and power, and joins a special branch. He becomes an inspector. Later on, he is promoted to commander as head of special branch. His wife, Charlotte, née Ellison, is from an upper-class family. Her sister Emily's first husband was a viscount, and Emily's second husband is a rising politician. Charlotte frequently uses Emily's connections to the landed gentry and aristocracy to assist Pitt in his investigation. She relies on her maid Gracie to take care of the kids when she is investigating a mystery. Her well-intentioned interference gives Pitt access to information which helps solve the case. Vespasia Cumming Gould, the elderly aunt of Emily's first husband, becomes a friend to both Emily and Charlotte and helps with their way into society. And regardless, I mean, it's like from the beginning before they had kids, and then, they have the kids, and then it goes through, everything's older and the cases get better. And of course, she has to, she helps even though she gets into trouble a lot, Charlotte. She's a great character in this, very believable. And it's just sometimes the status of these people, they're really demeaning to other people. It's amazing. It's like, whoa. But they are good. If you want just a good on a cold winter night, a good mystery novel, pick one of those up. They are awesome. And the William Monk series, he has amnesia. So he doesn't know what he did or what he was, and then finds out he was, again, he had involved with the police forces and stuff. So, but I think the Thomas and Charlotte Pitt mysteries are better than the William Monk. You might like that better, though. I can't tell. I don't know. So, yeah, Anne Perry, she's great. She has a colored background, which is, kind of sketchy, but hey, she turned into a great writer. Who'd have thought, right? Interesting she is. But, yeah. It's not, just like my two least, like I said, what are your least favorite genres, Chris? Mine are romance and westerns. Oh my God. Oh, gag me. No. When I was in school, yeah, I think I read some Danielle Steele, Jackie Collins, but I got out of those because they freaking same. It's like, lots like the Hallmark movies. Give it a rest, all of them. Oh my God. And they set up Christmas movies under. Thank you. Yes, romance. Gag me. Oh my God. Westerns. I can't get into westerns either. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Me either. I second that motion. But Hallmark still has Christmas movies on Thursdays. Are you freaking kidding me? Get over it. Stop it already. And of course, a lot of them, Debbie Macomber's books. If I want to read it, I'll read it. I don't want to see it on TV every freaking day. Anyway, it's like enough already. Excuse me. I can't either. Romance. Ugh. Yeah. You like some of it, don't you? I think I don't like I don't like typical westerns. Let's put it that way. The old time western crap. Definitely not for me. I guess it would depend. But in general, that would be cool. Try that. I have to say, I don't like the old-timey westerns, okay? Yeah. At least modernize it a little. That's one of my least favorite genres, though. Let's put it that way. The worst is romance, so done, over. That is for sure. Like I said, I'd like to see you do that. Do it. In 2 weeks, I'll be back. We're going to talk about Brian Lumley, the Necroscope series. Okay. You lost me again? I'm here. You didn't lose me. We're going to talk about Brian Lumley in 2 weeks and his Necroscope series. That's what we're going to talk about. It's such a great series. It's a best-selling series. It's based on a character, Harry Keogh, who can communicate with the spirits of the dead. And they actually talk to him. He can send his mind out and they'll talk to him. He's like a light that the dead can see, and they know he's there. So, Brian Lumley, the Necroscope series, next time on the Book Corner. I think that's going to be fun. I don't know if you've ever read them or seen them. Oh my God, what a series. We'll get into that the next time how many books of those he's written. And it really starts when Harry's a baby and moves on to, older years and the other, oh my God, it's crazy stuff, but it's so good. It's so good. But we'll get into it then. 2 weeks after that, we're going to get into some of the more famous fictional characters that authors have, such as Sherlock Holmes, Ellery Queen, Mr. Hercule Poirot from Agatha Christie. A lot of these larger than, these fictional characters that, basically came to life for us from these authors. So we're going to be talking about that in a month, apparently. So, are you good now? Can you hear me now? So, next 2 weeks, in 2 weeks it'll be Brian Lumley. And then it's going to be 2 weeks after that, Elmore Leonard. I don't know that name. Huh. Old-timey Western? Maybe I relate him too much to the, TV shows. Finally. Take you a while to listen to that one. Just saying. But I don't know what it is. Maybe I associated too much with the TV series they had. Oh, gag me, Gunsmoke. Every time, we have this TV at work, and it's a big screen back, and they usually have these westerns on, or Little House Little House, whatever. But some of these westerns, every time I see it, it's on. It's the same one. I think they made 2. I don't know, but it's always the same ones. It's crazy. But yeah, you got Gunsmoke, the Virginian, Rawhide. Rawhide wasn't bad. Clint Eastwood, hey. But those series, Bonanza. Oh my God, enough. The Big Valley. All those shows. So maybe I just associate Western books with that. Maybe I shouldn't do that, but it just happens. Was it good? We will do another segment on Stephen King in the future, of course, especially with his new book coming out. We'll talk about more of The Outsider, his later books. Sleeping Beauty with Owen. It Bleeds, now that that's coming out. That'll be a whole new discussion on that. So we will be, entering, was it? Well, good to hear. On, the world of Stephen King. Always, every couple episodes. We will delve into him, in his mind. Woo. So, I think that should wrap it up for tonight pretty good. Like I said, in 2 weeks, Brian Lumley. Writing it in here. Come on, thanks, autocorrect. Not. There we go. Necroscope series. It is a great series. If you can catch a book between now and then of his, please do so. So we're going to be discussing him in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks after that, it's going to be the fictional characters that came to life for us by authors. So we will do that. Going to be fun. If there's an author you want me to talk about, let me know. And I will do so. Like I said, we talked about Stephen King tonight, probably Joe Hill in the near future. What a writer. He is fabulous, just like his dad, in his own right, which is awesome for him. tomorrow, join me for DWD, some more 60s, 70s, and 80s musics. The next DWD, we're going to get back to some of the more, like I did before. We're going to have the wars. We're going to have the music wars. We're going to have a featured artist, because there's a few I want to feature. And just some of the music from the decades that were popular at the time. I'd like to do, Bob Seger. Meatloaf, of course. Holy crap, just some featured artists. I want to get back to that. Get back to the music wars. Get back to the specific type of music at the time. So, going to be getting back to that. Let's see what else is going on. Thursday, Friday, of course, Hollywood Review, and then comes I think one of the best podcasts I've heard is Freaks in the Basement with our own Chris Stevens on Friday nights about 1:30 in the morning. I usually do Hollywood Review within like 20 minutes of his show, so you don't have to wait that long. And then Saturday, Michelle and I will be back with Encounters and Ecto. Got some good stuff to talk about Saturday. And congrats to the 49ers and Chiefs. Boy, I called that one, didn't I? Yes, indeed. That's going to be a great game. I cannot wait. I'll have a look at that, and of course the games on next Tuesday. We'll talk about that. Then after Super Bowl, of course, we're going to be having TWD. Will be back shortly. Woohoo! Cannot wait. If January ever ends, this has got to be the longest month in the world. I swear to God, this year. It's like January will never end. It's crazy. Maybe it's the weather. It's up and down everywhere. Yes, by the way, Chris, yes, it's fixed. I have heat. Yay! Again. Let's hope it stays that way now. So... Anyway, thank you, Chris, for joining me in the chat tonight. Appreciate it. We're going to have to get you on the air. We're going to talk about your books at some point. Blow your own horn. We're going to plug you here. Fear of the Dark. Y'all need to check this out by Chris Stevens. He is an author, and you need to check it out. Fear of the Dark. On Amazon, correct? Get that on Amazon, Chris? Yeah, I want you on here. We're going to talk about your stuff. And maybe have you read a story or two for us. Yes, it would be great, wouldn't it? Yes, I want to have you on here talk about your stuff. Awesome. Yes, on Amazon, Fear of the Dark. Y'all need to check that out and do it. Okay, so hopefully Chris will agree and come on the show in the near future. We're on every 2 weeks. Every other week we have Walking Dead Planet. So Fear of the Dark on Amazon. Check it out today. Tomorrow's good too. But Kindle. All right. Awesomeness. That's great. So check that out. I think you'll really enjoy it. I know I did. So please check it out. And join him Friday night on Freaks in the Basement. Don't miss that. Okay, guys. Thank you, Chris, so much for listening. I can't do it like Michelle. Freaks. I'm about to throw my throat out of whack. Okay. In the basement. I can't do it like she does. She does it so well. So anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining me in the chat here. Hopefully this weekend won't be too bad. Some weird weather going on again. Glad to have you here. So, next time I'll get it on right away. I always forget. If I don't have intro music, I forget to post it right away. And I'm getting all stuffed up again. Stupid weather. My sinuses don't know what to do anymore. So, goofy weather. So, y'all have a great night. You got some writing to do there, Chris. Have you been doing any? I know you have been. I'm waiting for the next part. Okay. Yeah, thanks so much for being here. Appreciate it. Hope to see more of you in 2 weeks. All right, guys, have a great weekend coming. It's almost here. It's almost here. Tomorrow's Thursday already. So have a great rest of the week. You'll hear from me tomorrow night on DWD. So, all right, guys, have a great night. Thanks for listening. Peace out, y'all.